You know that feeling, right? The alarm goes off, it's pitch black outside, and every single cell in your body is screaming that it is absolutely not time to get up. Yep, it's the annual spring forward. And for so many of us, it feels less like a tiny tweak and more like, well, a full-on attack. Today we're going to dig into why this one little hour can throw our entire system for such a loop. One of our sources just nails the description. It calls it a temporal punch to the gut. And that's exactly what it is, isn't it? It's that jarring physical feeling when the clock says it's 7 a.m., but your body is absolutely convinced it's 6. You spend the next few days feeling off. Kind of like you're constantly playing catch-up with a clock that just decided to sprint ahead without telling you.
So let's really get into it. What's the big deal? It's just 60 minutes. How can that possibly mess up our sleep for days, leave us feeling completely foggy, and, as we're about to see, even have some pretty serious health effects? Well, the answer isn't in our willpower. It's buried deep, deep in our biology.
To really get why this hurts so much, we have to look under the hood at our own internal hardware. See, every single one of us has a master clock running the show, an ancient biological timer that frankly does not care one bit about what the government says the time is. Okay, so meet the boss, the conductor of your body's entire orchestra, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN for short. Now get this, it's just a tiny little cluster of about 20,000 neurons, which is nothing in the grand scheme of your brain. But this tiny spot sets the rhythm for literally trillions of cells in your body. And its number one cue? You guessed it, light. So when daylight saving time hits, what we're basically doing is yelling at our SCN, hey, the rules have changed, the sun is up an hour earlier now, so get with the program. But the SCN, it can't just flip a switch. This sudden, forced change throws everything out of sync, from the melatonin that makes you sleepy to the cortisol that wakes you up, even the hormones that control your hunger and your immune system. And the result is that out-of-sync feeling, that groggy, fuzzy, I'm not quite here state. It actually has a name, circadian dysrhythmia. So no, you're not just being dramatic, you're literally experiencing a form of jet lag without ever getting on a plane. It's a real, biological state of confusion.
So who do we have to thank for this biennial misery? I mean, where did this idea even come from? Well, you might be surprised to learn that this very modern feeling problem actually has its roots in a completely different world, one that was all about insects and war.
For thousands and thousands of years, humans just lived by the sun. Simple. Then, just over 100 years ago, we decided we knew better and started messing with the clocks. And it all started, I kid you not, with an entomologist in New Zealand who just wanted more evening light to collect bugs. But the idea didn't really stick until World War I, when Germany adopted it to try and save coal for the war effort.
And here is the single biggest irony in this whole story. The entire reason this practice went global was to save energy. But get this, modern studies show it often does the exact opposite. Yeah, we might use a little less electricity for lights, but we crank up the AC on those longer, hotter evenings. The original reason for doing it has been completely debunked.
Okay, so if it's not saving us energy, what is it doing? Well, what is it costing us? The data, it turns out, paints a pretty stark picture. This isn't just about feeling a little tired. There's a real, measurable price we all pay, a kind of spring-forward tax on our collective health and safety. Just look at this number for a second. 24%. On the Monday after we spring forward, hospitals see a 24% spike in heart attacks. That single hour of lost sleep acts as a major stressor on the cardiovascular system, especially for people who are already vulnerable.
And the bad news doesn't stop there, not by a long shot. As all the research shows, that same Monday also sees a big jump in traffic accidents because of drowsy driving. We see more injuries on the job, our overall cognitive function just takes a nosedive. Our focus is worse, our reaction times are slower. We're just not running on all cylinders.
So when you add all that up, the conclusion is kind of unavoidable. The collective wallop of millions of people suddenly becoming sleep-deprived all at once creates a very real public health problem. This goes way beyond being a personal annoyance. It's a predictable, society-wide hazard that we inflict on ourselves twice a year. All right, the problem is clear. But the clocks are going to change, whether we like it or not, right? So what can we do? Well, the good news is we are not totally powerless here. We can actually take steps to protect our internal rhythms from all this external chaos. First, let's just define the fight we're in. On one side, you've got your chronobiology. That's your body's ancient, hardwired connection to the sun. On the other side, you've got social jet lag. That's the gap between what your body wants to do and what society's clock forces you to do. And daylight saving time? Well, that's like pouring a giant can of gasoline on the fire of social jet lag. And this isn't just a twice-a-year problem. For a lot of us, living in a constant state of social jet lag is the norm, and it's linked to all sorts of nasty chronic issues. That feeling of always being tired, metabolic problems, even mental health struggles. The spring forward is just the most extreme version of a battle our bodies are fighting pretty much every single day.
So, what can we actually do to harmonize? First, and this is the big one, embrace morning light. Getting natural sunlight in your eyes soon after waking up is the most powerful signal you can send to that master clock. Second, shift your schedule gradually. Don't wait for the shock. Start going to bed 15 minutes earlier each day for a few days leading up to the change. Third, be consistent. A regular sleep schedule, yes, even on weekends, is your best defense. Also, super important, manage your melatonin by cutting out that blue light from screens at night. And finally, just listen to your body. Pay attention to its natural cues.
And that kind of brings us to the big final thought here. For an idea that was born from this desire to control the sun, to trap it in a box, you have to ask, in our attempt to save a little bit of daylight, are we maybe just dimming that vital biological light that burns inside each of us? It's something to think about for sure the next time that alarm clock goes off an hour too early.